Shane's going to come out. Shane's making the motion to come out of in camera. Vote. Carried. I'll give you 30 seconds to bring us back online. Page 31. Way faster, isn't it? We're live. Okay, are you there?
Here.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Can you see me?
No, not yet. There you are.
Okay.
Okay, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation. So my name is Mikhail Ivanchikov. I'm founder of Dandelion Renewables, and I've been in renewable energy for the last 15 years. First 5 years I spent in the wind business development, and the last 10 years basically running solar business, solar company. And our goal is to create projects that not only environmentally sustainable, but also financially sustainable. And that's something that I would like to talk to you today. So question, do you guys have slides on the screen, or how is kind of all organized?
Yeah. You can share the screen and do it yourself if you'd like.
Okay, I will try to do that.
If not, we have it, but.
You have it? Okay.
Yeah.
Whichever is more convenient. See if I.
Okay, I think Leslie Ann's got it here.
Got it? Okay, perfect. Awesome. So yeah, I'll just then keep talking, and then I don't see the slides, but just basically not clear on my screen yet. But yeah, so next time I will be just saying, okay, so right now just the first, yeah, now I see the first slide loading up. Okay. That's the right slide. Perfect. Okay, good. So this presentation is going to be fairly unique, not something that you get used to, because when I was looking at the business case for the solar project for the county, I found that there is approximately 1.9 million positive value over the life of the project, and you know, that's I guess unique. Oh, excellent. Good, thank you very much. I see very clearly the presentation. So that basically, no, if we can go back to the first slide. So yeah. So the positive value that the project generates over the life, and that's something that council can consider to put into the really good projects for the community, such as you know, Dunmore Community Warm-Up Structure, or Irvine Public Library, or Agricultural Discovery Center, or just keep the county taxes low. So this is you know, this is something that you know, it's your project, and I just want to, you know, educate you. That's something that in your hand on the table that you can, you know, implement and monetize. So the structure of the presentation, what I would suggest is that I'll just describe you the initial business case, and while I'll speak, I would like you know, maybe some sort of just interrupt me with the questions, because I like to answer the question as we go. And then at the end of the presentation, I will ask every council member a question. So we'll have a little bit of discussion at the end, and I'll specifically allow time for that. So I'll keep my presentation nice and short. So we can go to the second slide. Excellent. So a little bit about the company. So the company that we run and operate is Alberta-based company, Dandelion Renewables. We started in 2011, and the goal for us is to implement the projects that's sustainable from financial and environmental perspective. So we always trying to find, you know, a combination of the both. We don't need to only focus on one. we'd like to make sure that, financially it makes sense, as well as it contributes in a positive way to the environment and future generations. In, I guess, milestones for our company, that in 2017, we completed foundation and layout and installation of the Brook 17 megawatt solar project, which is not too far from you guys. And in the last 10 years, we installed over 10 megawatt of solar projects, and we're active in Alberta, Saskatchewan, British Columbia. And that's kind of the projects that we started from conception to the finish. We definitely participated in way more projects just on a partial scope. For example, just doing a portion of the large utility scale projects, which I didn't count here. Our company is probably, should say, the company that scored the most net zero projects for municipalities in Alberta. So our approach is slightly different. So rather than just doing a certain facility net zero, we're actually taking into account the entire county, entire towns, entire municipal load, and then aggregating this into one larger project that allows to offset entire community consumption. So examples of those net zero projects that we completed is, for example, town of Viking. So you can see the picture in the spring flood of town of Viking 1 megawatt project that we completed. And, town of Viking was actually able to offset 100% of their power consumption with this larger scale project just in one location. Then we successfully completed last year town of Bonacourt solar project. That's project going to be in the scale of what I'm proposing for the Cypress County. We completed Village of Riley, Big Lakes County, Town in Isfell, Barhead, and we're currently working on municipal project in town of Smoky Lake. So finishing it up right now. We can go to the next slide. So just a little bit of explanation how it works in Alberta in terms of solar. So we can offset your power consumption of the county, but there are some regulatory restrictions in terms of how much we can connect in certain place. And because in the county specifically, what we see that you guys connected to the different substation, there is some regulatory limitations in terms of how we can group the load. So with the project that we're proposing, and we maximized, I looked at the different economics and tried to maximize the return for the county. All we can do with this proposed project is cover 73% of the power consumption for the county. Obviously, we can do the second project to cover the rest 27, but it's not going to be as profitable, not as a high return investment for different reasons, which I will be willing, if you have questions, I will willing to cover that. So what we're proposing is 600 kilowatt project with 450 kilowatt AC capacity. Means that your interconnection capacity with the Ford is going to be 450, and there's going to be 600 kilowatt of solar panels installed. Site footprint would require about 3 acres of land. Again, we company that look both on the ground mount and rooftop systems, and portion of the project that I mentioned for municipalities were rooftop. But lately, ground mount projects actually yields a higher rate of return, especially if we can aggregate the loads together in one location. So that's roughly about 3 acres of land that would be required to implement the project. The project needs to be fenced with 6 feet chain link with barbed wire, and it's going to interconnect to the 43 phase line. Now, I looked at different location, and one of the potential location which needs a little bit more due diligence to confirm that's a good site is Irvine Sport Complex. I'll talk a little bit later about that. But in terms of timeline, so if you feel comfortable, like this today is just kind of information purpose. So I just want to inform council about that opportunity. But if there is an appetite to look further and work with us, I think it may take about maybe 2 months to get through the due diligence and get everything kind of lined up, firm up the costs. And then if that happens and we can give a notice to proceed in June, we can complete the project in October 2021. Next slide, please. So this is kind of, again, I looked at the different sites and I thought that, and that we thank you very much for sending the power information. Specific location that stand apart in terms of load consumption is Irvine Sport Complex. It's fairly significant in terms of overall picture, and There are some benefits to connect ground mount solar array to the project that consumes most, because there's also going to be not only energy savings, but also going to be delivery charges savings attributed to the project. So that's what the footprint of the project we would suggest. And there's more questions. I wasn't able, unfortunately, to talk deeply enough in terms of location. I would like to have that opportunity in the next months or so. I need to take a look at the ground, whether it's suitable or not for this ground, for this proposed solar project. But I just want to put it as a picture, just as a footprint, how much it's going to be. And this particular project, again, is going to be tapping both to the energy side of the bill as well as distribution side for the sport complex. That's why this location is fairly successful. Next slide, please. Just maybe if you click one more time, so we'll see the text. Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. So as you guys know, I'm sure that you know, but there's Alberta Municipal Solar Funding still available, and it funds this particular project. If we would do it as designed, so the Alberta Municipal Solar Funding can fund 45% of the project cost. So the project cost estimated around, so again, 600 kilowatt project that estimated around $1 million. And 45% of that going to be funded by the Alberta Municipal Solar Funding. Now, the rest will need to come from the county. And as you guys know, there is Alberta Capital Finance Authority with fairly good financing rates that allows municipality to borrow. When I did the business case, the rate was 2.4% for 15 years, and just today I checked the rates. It's actually went down to 2.3% for 15 years. So my economics actually going to slightly improve. So the whole idea here is that if the county finance this portion, $568,000 through Alberta Capital Financial Authority, then the rest money going to come from Alberta Municipal Solar Funding Program. Then your debt service is going to be less than what the project is actually saving from year one, which is going to result in a positive net cash flow from year one for the municipality. And that's the real money that can be spent. You can see it in the bottom in the table that, first year we estimate that the project going to generate $21,000. But as you pay out the debt, this obviously amount going to significantly increase. So the net present value of this cash flow is estimated $1.9 million, and it's a 17% unlevered rate of return investment. So if you would put your own capital without financing, so it's a 17% unlevered rate of return investment. So it's fairly, good from a financial perspective. Other benefits, as I said, like you're going to cover 73% of the county municipal annual consumption. Then it provides the mitigation from the price risk volatility. So if the price is going up, then you already covered 73% of your exposure for that. The project will have very low environmental impact. And finally, we live in a very interesting time right now. So there's lots of stimulus money available, and there's quite a bit of uncertainty in terms of what's going to happen in terms of the cost rise and such. So, I think it's a really good timing, and there's still money available out for municipal solar funding. The time is always the essence, because, at some point, don't know when, but the money going to run to the end. It's first come, first serve. And just yesterday, I've heard about town of Tabor plans to go solar and do municipal solar projects. So they're going to tap into the same funds. So, the first come, first serve, as I said. So it's certainly very positive. Initial business case really positive, and I'm hoping you guys can understand and appreciate it. Next slide, please. So when I prepared the slide, so I thought that I'll show you the Bon Accord project. So this is the footprint of Bon Accord project, which is 648 kilowatt DC capacity. And what I'm proposing for Cypress County is 600 kilowatt capacity, so slightly smaller, but fairly comparable in size. Also, when I kind of been preparing, I've heard that you had opportunity to look at solar before, and I'm not sure if you guys very receptive for solar or not. So I think the first goal for me, which I didn't hear any questions, but the first goal for me would be actually to hear from each council member the feedback, what you guys think about solar and what you think about the project that I'm bringing to the table.
Okay, well, that's not the process that we have here. We have some counselors that have questions, so I will allow them to ask the questions and start now with Shane.
Yes, Councilor Shane Hawk here. You said the one at Brooks, is that the one on the east side of Brooks? Right
Yes.
off of Highway 1?
Yeah, it's on from Highway 1. It's kind of north of the highway.
So who operates that one right now? And is
Uh,
it profitable? Because every time I drive by, it's full of snow, weeds growing underneath it. And
Yeah.
I'm just wondering who looks after that one?
So yeah, that project is operated by Elemental. It's the company that developed and owns this project. When we consider the projects in Alberta, we do factor in, and that's factored in my economics, the factor in the snow losses. So what we do estimate and expect that in the wintertime, the project's not going to generate lots of electricity. However, because we live in the northern hemisphere, whatever shorter days and the snow losses we have in the winter, we have quite a bit of extra in the summertime because the day is longer. So everything like that is obviously been factored in by the developer, and it is factored in my financial analysis for sure. I can assure about that.
Any other questions? Kayleen?
Michaela, it's just Kayleen Simpson here. If you're able just to clarify, I guess, just to ensure that everybody is clear, the difference between this project and the solar project that you're proposing along Highway 1 where the county is considering selling the land to you. Can you just decipher between the two and what the difference is?
Yeah, maybe briefly, I would like to keep a discussion about our project off topic, but the biggest difference is that in this particular solar project, the owner of the project and beneficiary of all Alberta municipal solar funding would be the county. The county will be basically benefiting $1.9 million from that project. That's estimated. And any private projects, such as something that we do or something that Elemental done with the Brooks, the private party owns it and benefits from the energy sold back to the grid. This particular project, municipal project, it's goes under the microgeneration regulation, which means that you're going to be offsetting your existing power consumption rather than kind of doing this project for revenue purposes. And there is some advantages going as a microgenerator compared to distributed generator or independent power producer.
Darcy?
Can you explain your numbers to me? It's 568 is what you want the county to put in. And then over its lifespan, it can generate 1.9 million.
Yeah, so yeah.
Okay, and then the first year we get 21,000 back?
Yep. Plus, right? So the way how it works is that you would finance 45%, roughly $450,000. You would finance with Alberta Capital Financial Authority at say 15-year amortization schedule. So in the first year, what you're going to experience is that you need to pay the debt services on this amount. And also on top of it, you're going to have some savings from the energy, less energy being consumed. Basically, big portion of the county consumption will be covered by the generation. So the net benefit, which means that your savings minus the debt service is going to come to $21,000. So essentially, you can think about it's a zero payback project, because from year one, you're actually generating positive cash flow. And again, there is in an elaborate case, you don't have any capital. You don't need to think about your operating budget and finding this money. I'll explain a little bit later, but because you finance the entire $568,000, you finance it, and the rest comes from Alberta Municipal Solar Funding. Now, there's one, well, I guess two negatives here. So one negative is that the county has some room in terms of how much money you can borrow, right? So, so you need to take a look at this carefully because it's going to tie up your borrowing capacity in the future. If you're uncertain about the future very much, I've seen municipalities where they just make prudent decisions not to tap to this borrowing, not to borrow the money, and I totally understand that. So that's one negative thing because you need to finance that amount. Second negative thing is that this Alberta municipal solar funding are paid only at the end of the project. So you do need to secure the bridge financing during construction. And so that's how other municipalities done it as well. And Alberta, it's not like, unfortunately, it's not our choice to do it differently because Alberta municipal solar funding program does require to confirm all the invoices being paid and project fully closed before they release their incentive.
Steve.
So maybe some further questions about your net present value. I don't see where the principal amounts are being paid back. Are you just talking about this cash flow is just servicing the interest? Did I understand that right?
So it's this cash flow at the bottom is what's left over after servicing your debt.
The debt, so principal and interest.
Correct. Yes.
And I'm seeing 8 years. What is it? Because we're not adding up. How long is the total project?
So the total life of the project is 30 years. So we define 30 years for the net present value. When we calculate net present value, we calculate it over 30 years. And it's basically determined by the fact that, the modules that we're using have 30-year performance guarantee. Potentially it's going to be longer term, but, for economic life, we're assuming, I've done lots of valuation projects, so we're assuming 30 years for solar. And after 15 years, as I mentioned, your debt service is going to be fully paid, and then your revenue going to increase significantly. I can take a look to the number, but it's going to be very significant, over $100,000 for sure per year.
Okay, and I'm just assuming that the opportunity costs of those amounts aren't rolled into that NPV?
What do you mean opportunity costs?
Opportunity costs as in, when you talk about the amount we can borrow is being reduced. So the loss of interest from being able to use that money for other things, for example.
Oh, right. Yes.
Earn interest.
Right. Yeah. So, my background, I spent in business development valuation 11 years with Capital Power. So in order to weight different opportunities that you guys have in the plate, really you guys suggest to look at the unlevered rate of return investment. So this project economics is 17% unlevered rate of return investment. So if you have other investment opportunities in oil and gas or whatever you guys have, that has a higher rate of return investment, that definitely the capital better be tied up to those projects compared to this. So this 17% is, kind of your indicator how good is the project or how bad is the project. Does it answer your question?
It does. I'm not quite wrapping my head around it, and perhaps I'm missing that the 45% grant or there's something playing there.
Right. So,
yeah, I guess the fact that there's no initial outlay at all is perhaps throwing me off.
Too good to be true. Exactly. Yeah. So if you think that the unlevered rate of investment is actually, if you actually put in this $568,000 from your own pocket into the project, so then this investment going to yield you 17%, right? And 17% is unlevered return, but we live in the interesting time when we can borrow, well, you guys, I cannot borrow at 2.3% for 15 years, but you guys can borrow at 2.3% for 15 years. So your cost of debt is significantly lower than the rate of return on this opportunity, which creates your positive cash flow. So there is no payback on the levered case. But what I would suggest, like everybody is interested, we can schedule, by no means I'm cutting off, like I'm going to answer all the questions you have, but what would be really helpful, I have Excel spreadsheet, so I can walk everyone who guys is interested in the spreadsheet, and we can have a little bit more discussion.
I think you can just send that to us. This is just a delegation request, so we're listening to your presentation. If you have more, you can send it to us and we'll discuss it when we go into our deliberations on this later.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll provide the spreadsheet. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, it's Robin Kerpioid here. This presentation is for that the one project up to the $1 million, but AMSP funding, is there a max limit on project size? Like how would this be if it was something that we wanted to do more of? Is that an option, or what's the criteria for funding?
Yeah, that's right. So the maximum funding per municipality is 1.5 million. So we're actually working on one project like right now where we maximize the funding, and you know, it comes down to about a 2.5 megawatt project, which is you know, 2.5 times bigger than what I suggest. There is another limitation, unfortunately, for you guys, is that because this project goes under the micro generation, we must limit your generation to your annual consumption. So this project covers 73% of the county municipal power consumption. So you would not be able to significantly increase the project. So that's the cap that could be connected under the existing regulation to the particular substation where the bulk of the electrical consumption is. We can build another project, smaller project, to cover the remaining 27%, but economics not going to be as good. One of the reasons is that why we like aggregating the project in one location, because Alberta Municipal Solar Funding consists of two grants. One is just a regular one, and another one is first-time bonus. If the county didn't participate in the program before, then this first-time bonus is up to $250,000, so fairly significant. And we like to get one project to tap to both fundings at the same time. So if we do consider second project, smaller project for 27% of the county consumption, then it will not be qualifying for the first-time bonus. So and the economy of scale going to be slightly less. So it's not going to be as, you know, as attractive. So, for example, if you would do, you know, we can look at some rooftops closer to the east side, like, you know, maybe Dunmore and you know, Medicine had this kind of the other west side of the of your county, where we can build this 27 smaller project, second one.
Robin?
So what would limit us from doing the project as presented right now and then utilizing the rooftop of the rec center to get the additional 27% and go for the full 100% in the first project?
Rec center in Irvine, or
Well, the rec center that you're proposing that this be located to the east of in Irvine, right? So you're saying that we're utilizing 73% of the program. So I'm just wondering why we wouldn't just, you know, look at it from 100% of what would be available.
Yeah. So the micro generation was revised and about maybe 5 years ago, and one of the maybe 4 years ago, and one of the changes that happened is that now we allow to aggregate the same customer's load and offset it with the larger solar PV system. But there are some constraints. One constraint is that this load needs to be connected to the same feeder, to the same substation. Another constraint is that you need to have the same energy retailer for all your sites. So this first constraint is actually defining that 73%, because only 73% of the county's load is attributed to this feeder, to this substation. So if we build a second project, it needs to be geographically located in the and connected to the lines that goes to the second substation, to another substation. Or maybe, you know what, maybe there are a couple of those. I need to check out my team's results and see how many feeders and substations the entire county spread it out across. But this one is by far is the biggest, and that's what we propose.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions at this time, so
May
do
may I
you,
just add something?
yeah, you can add something.
So yeah, so the way how I see it is, if this project looks favorable to you, that I would like to get permission to continue working with the county and administration to confirm the site location, the best site location, and request Fortis interconnection costs so I can firm up the budgetary numbers better. And potentially, if you guys in favor, and I will be doing some soil testing in the area, so maybe get permission to do the soil testing too.
Okay, well, from the delegation here, we'll be discussing this later in our council meeting, and somebody from Cypress County will get back to you after that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.